I am unashamed. What about you?
Oh, well, look at here. Well, you are just full of surprises today.
Look, you see J-Rock?
Oh, good.
Say happy birthday.
Hi. Hey, Mare Bear. Hey, Davy.
You hear Lulu?
Yeah.
Say happy birthday, J-Rock.
Hey, Jara.
Well, thank you. What? That's sweet.
So welcome to Unashamed. It's the J-Rock birthday special. If you're watching the podcast, this is a good time to be watching because we've got Missy is on the podcast today.
Hello.
Hey, Missy, welcome to Unashamed.
Thank
and
you.
we have some very special guests that Missy, I'll let you introduce that are beaming in from Nashville.
Well, I'm not sure that the kids have been on the podcast ever besides just showing some pictures. So welcome to Maris. Hello, Maris. Can you wave?
Maris.
Davy,
You say hi.
David. And then we have brand new precious Frances, baby Frances, who is just a few days old.
There she is.
Oh, and their parents, Brighton and Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens, Reed and Brighton. So I think y'all are going to sing happy birthday, right?
We
Is that the
are.
plan?
Reed, I'm so glad you're joining me so you can harmonize with me. Are you ready? Are you ready, kiddos? You want to sing happy birthday to J-Rock? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear J-Rock. Happy birthday to you.
Woo.
And
She
many
churched it
more.
up there at the end. Yeah.
But that was way better than the guy who sang on the last podcast.
Oh, right.
I actually sang a song in the last podcast.
We had Rhett Walker on the podcast and Jay sang a song.
Thank you for redeeming the family name, Missy.
And
All
Reed
right.
and
What did
Brighton.
he say? He's known for "Won't you sign me up?"
So what Reed is talking about is Jace is actually known for one song from when we were in youth group, and he would sing it at our house. He was the leader. Do you want to do it, babe? Reed got you started.
Yeah, I
Oh,
made
boy.
I had a, what
Just
a lot
sing
of
it.
that
It doesn't
Missy
need
on.
commentary. Just sing it.
Look, listen. I'm nervous about singing because I did a country western vibe, and this is kind of a spiritual. And the reason I sang it is because I had the Holy Spirit of the Lord, and when I heard this song, I thought, now that is a song. And so we were in the youth group, and they sang this song, and I think it was Mike Kellett who said, "Hey, get up and lead us." And I said, "You know what? I believe this song so much that I'm going to do it." So I walked up there. I was nervous. Heart was pulsating.
Is this
Got
what you
up.
do every time y'all tell a story?
Babe, I'm building the drama here.
This is it, Missy.
I got up to the mic.
You go to a
Look,
concert and the singer won't sing. He just like talks the whole time and it drives you
I
crazy.
got up to the mic. So there I was making my singing career debut. You ready, Maris? And I went,
No, Maris is gone now.
Yes, she's gonna
She's
sing.
totally out.
she's gonna sing.
She's lost.
Yeah, you lost her.
we're fixing
She's
to
gone.
pull her
Yeah.
back in with 3 famous words. All right, hold on. Sign me up,
Sign me up for the Christian Jubilee.
write my name.
Write my name on the roll.
I've been changed.
I've been changed since the Lord has lifted me, and I want to be ready when Jesus comes. I thought you were going to sing the whole thing.
Wow.
And that song that's what made Jace famous in the youth group
That's
right
it.
there.
That
But
was
you
it.
had
It was.
Missy backing you up with the echo.
Yeah, it was a lot better with Missy.
So what happened was I started there, but then as the Spirit's fervor grew, then I just went, sign me up. I mean, I kept getting more emotional about the song, and then finally someone came to me and said, maybe you should just speak.
You want to preach instead.
Well, Kellett would always say, Jace, you want to sign us up? So it kind of became part of the youth group lore. So
Yeah.
So I got to ask you guys before you go, because I know y'all just on for a minute, but what's it like having 3 under 3? I have to know, because that's That sounds pretty daunting.
Mass chaos.
Yeah, at all times.
Brighton, you look amazing. You don't look like you just had your third child.
Oh, well, thank you.
So
Oh,
recently.
she's a rock star for
Yes.
sure.
I told that story on a previous podcast that less than 24 hours after giving birth, Brighton looked like she does right now. And I just could not believe it. I thought, okay, well, have a baby next day, meet the grandparents day. I mean, it was something.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank y'all for coming on
Aw.
and making J Rock's birthday so special. We throw him under the bus a lot, so it's good to do something nice for him. So,
Maris, you want to show us baby
Yeah.
Francis? You showing us
can you show
baby
us your
Francis?
little baby sister?
Oh, look at those cheeks.
There
I
you
miss
go,
y'all.
Unashamed Nation.
Y'all have
Yeah, see it
now
on the
seen
YouTube
the
channel.
best that I have to offer right here.
All right, love
So-
y'all.
Proud of you, Reed.
All right,
Okay,
we love
love
you
you.
guys.
All right,
Happy
guys.
birthday,
Happy
Dad.
birthday.
Hey guys, this is Zach here. I want to tell you, we are so excited to have this new sponsor. It's Lassie Health. You can check it out at healthylink.com/Phil. And the reason why we're so excited about it, because we understand that a lot of our audience, a lot of Americans right now are either underinsured or uninsured. It's very difficult to get insurance today. It's getting more and more expensive. And we have a solution for you in Lassie Health at healthylink.com/Phil. And what you can get here is you have a plethora of different plans that you can choose from. It's not health insurance, it's health assurance, it's coverage. But at the basic level plan for only $30 a month, you can get virtual urgent care unlimited. All you got to do, you can set up and you can do it on your phone. They can prescribe you your medication. There's over 400 plus generic medications that are covered under the $30 a month plan. There's unlimited virtual behavioral health as well. This is an incredible solution. Also, if you want coverage and you want to be part of a health sharing plan as well, that you can get the comprehensive plan that also offers health sharing coverage. And the most that you will pay out of pocket per incident or per illness would be $2,500, in addition to in-person urgent care for $25, in-person primary care for $10 a visit, in-person urgent care for $100. I mean, this really is an incredible solution. And so we're super excited to be partnering with Lassie Health. So if you want to check it out, you can get your first month for free for eligible plans, just to see if you like it, see if it works for your family. Even if you have insurance and maybe you have a really high deductible and you can't afford some of your prescription drugs and your office visits, and you don't want to come out of pocket for that, you could use this kind of as a supplement to that even. Or if you're uninsured and you just need you want more of a comprehensive coverage, we have a plan for you at Lassie Health. All you got to do is go to healthylink.com/Phil, and you can check out the promo that we'll have there for you. Thank you, guys.
Man, that was a neat little surprise, Missy, that you lined up having Reed and Brighton and your grandkids on. That was awesome.
5 of them at the same time right now in their life. I was asking a lot. So if Brighton turned me down, I wasn't going to take offense, but they pulled it off.
Yeah.
Well,
They did
babe,
well.
That was I
did.
thought they just called in. I just thought, how did they call in here? So
We worked it out. Maddie and I worked it out. Mm-hmm.
So we already, in the last podcast, Missy, we already did my yearly joke, Elvis died joke. So we don't have to do that on this podcast as well. Because for the audience, we record 2 on the same day. So it's 2 podcasts. We get to talk about Jace's birthday. But Missy has brought balloons. If you're watching behind Jace, 55. When you first put them up, one of them turned around, it said 25. And I thought, man, that goes back a few years. And you also brought a cake. I think y'all are going to participate in
Yes,
some cake.
I would be.
this is
happy
my
to.
favorite cake. It is a
What cake is this,
It
Missy?
is a.
What kind?
She got up and baked it, I guess, this
No.
morning without me even
Wow.
knowing. I mean, babe.
No, but I did call your favorite place 2 days ago and ordered it. And it's a coconut cake, and it's, I don't know, like 3 or 4 layers.
Coconut
Oh, wow.
cream. It's kind of like, you remember the old Italian cream cheese? This is a coconut vibe of that cake.
Italian cream cake.
It is fantastic.
It looks delicious.
Well, and Zach, the two people that don't need to be eating it are not there,
I
which is.
feel no temptation to jump in there with you
I mean,
guys.
I'm glad we're not there. The three people that can afford it are there.
To quote a famous philosopher, you never want to get to a certain age and say to yourself, I should have had a piece of that cake. That was Phil Robertson in a duck blind one morning. They cooked biscuits in the blind, and somebody, due to dietary concerns, said, well, I wish I could eat that, but I can't.
There it is.
And Phil said that
Ooh.
you never want to reach an age where you think, I should have ate one of them biscuits.
When you're lying on your deathbed, you say, man, I wish I'd eaten that biscuit.
So hopefully most people are just listening, because I'm fixed to eat this cake because it is good.
They made it this morning.
Wow.
That was
That's
part of the
fresh.
reason why I was late, was because I was banging on the door to this place for quite a while before I had to walk in the back. I had to go around the back, walk through the supplies and the kitchen to get inside.
To get into the podcast, to the lair?
To pick up the cake this morning. Because they
okay.
would not, they just kind of looked at me through the window. I was like, hello, I have a cake order I'm supposed to pick up.
And what temperature was it outside?
98.
Good.
Getting up to a balmy 101 at some point later today. So
now we've cleared up the confusion because Phil thought I was 56.
What?
I wasn't sure.
And he thought I was well into my 60s, Missy. So.
How can you not be sure of your own age when you know that you're born and you know what year it is?
Well, I said I wasn't sure, but I got a text from one of my buddies because I've actually got a few texts today, which is weird. You would think this is live. But
What?
let me find it.
I'm not following that.
Well, I'm saying usually I don't remember getting this many texts on the day of my birthday. I was like,
Well,
it's like,
I will say last year, and I posted this on social media. Babe, I posted about your birthday. Sorry. But-
that's what happened.
So,
We cleared that up.
well, but what I put was, and most people remember it last year, we were going through really, 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 really extra. I don't even know how to say however many words that makes it a hard year to go through. And it was all compiling in these last week or so. So, Jace's birthday just literally was ignored. Like, we got up that morning and just went to work again. We had both babies at our house, and our kids were going through something really major. And I think about halfway through the day, I realized today is your birthday.
I got over it.
And
babe.
we couldn't do anything, but we were surviving. So
I called it the Elvis syndrome.
that's what you keep referring back to, which makes it kind of funny. But I just wanted to do something extra special to make up for last year because you deserve to be celebrated, babe.
Well, isn't that nice?
Well, there you go. Usually when Missy's on, Jace is kind of awkwardly, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Not sure if he tells his stories what's going to happen, but today it's just all sunshine and roses.
All I know is she's been the last couple of days. I'm like, man, boy, she's really just being an extra special nice. And it was over my birthday. But I realized how old I was. This was a text from my buddy. He's a fireman down in South Texas. Actually, he gave us permission to treasure hunt his place, and we became friends. But he said, happy double nickel. And I thought, what is he talking about? Because I didn't keep reading. I thought, because we're treasure hunters, I thought, is there a double nickel? Then it hit me 5-5.
Double nickel.
Oh, that's how old I am.
Double.
See, y'all didn't know what that was either.
I
never
never
heard of that.
And then he said this. This is the message. I'm not making this up. I'm reading verbatim. Remember, you can now order off the back of the Denny's menu for a senior discount. To which I replied, oh, wow. Thanks, bud. If I'm ever starving to death, I'll look into it. And that's not a knock on Denny's. I've never been there.
I was going to say, when's the last time you've been to
I've
Denny's?
never been there, but I just don't go to fast food places that sound like the name of a bowling alley or Denny's.
They're
You
known
know,
for their
or-
Grand Slam breakfast, Jay.
Yeah, when I
Denny's.
think of Denny's, I think of a name on a bowling ball. I think of a guy wearing, a mechanic outfit, and it's got
Oh,
a
Denny.
patch that says Denny. So it's not like, well, I'm going to go eat there.
It doesn't make you hungry, is what you're saying.
It doesn't make me hungry. But anyway, if I'm ever hard up, I will go get the senior discount, which is kind of humbling that they offer a senior discount for 55 years of age.
I believe they filed bankruptcy, so that's kind of bad.
Oh, did
news.
they?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I'm sorry. They may still be around. The one here's we don't have one in Black Mountain anymore.
They just built a new one.
Brand
in
new one
West
here.
Monroe, yeah. I'm glad, Dad. I was just about to say somebody needs to tell Dad to put his headphones and microphone.
Phil ate that piece of cake in 30 seconds.
You liked it, Phil, huh?
Was it pretty good? Dad, what do you think?
I've tasted better, but it ain't better.
No, that's humor.
As
That
he's
was
licking
granny.
the plate.
He literally went,
Yeah, that was granny right there.
Well,
was
tasted
that
better.
was granny. I've tasted better.
And you wonder why I don't make it to bring it here.
Oh, classic Dad. That was
So you brought the cake in. There's no way you could be offended in that circumstance.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
I was going to
covered
say
your
the name of the
bases.
restaurant, but now I will not.
Oh, classic. Jace, the reason the only way I knew it was your birthday was Dad did a TikTok video this morning.
Yeah.
And so that's how I knew when I watched Dad's TikTok video.
No, we actually went
Sarcasm,
through
baby.
that. We, because Rhett said he got a song idea off watching something from TikTok. And I asked Phil, what do you think of when you hear TikTok? And Phil said, the world's a ticky-tacky place. Greatest line ever.
Well, Jace, we talk a lot about, companies out there that have, I guess, different worldviews, different value systems than we do. And it's always you kind of walking a tightrope trying to figure out, how do I get a product I like without supporting people that do values that I don't like?
Yeah, you don't even want to investigate what all the companies are doing with the money that we give them. But it sure is nice to find one that is setting up in line with the values and morals, that we all share.
And is unapologetic about it. For the last 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, and they're not ashamed to say that. They offer dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all three major networks. So you get the coverage that you're used to without necessarily funding companies that you don't agree with. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're letting everyone know you support free speech, religious liberty, sanctity of life. They support the Second Amendment, and they're big supporters of our military veterans and first responders. And if that isn't enough, they also have a 100% U.S.-based customer service that makes switching to Patriot Mobile easy. You can keep your number and your phone, or you can upgrade. They'll find the best deal and the best plan that fits you. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Phil, or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT. Right now, you get a free month when you use the offer code Phil. So join us, switch to America's only Christian conservative mobile provider, Patriot Mobile, and you do that by going to patriotmobile.com/Phil, or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT for your free month of service today. So, Missy, I want to ask you about this because Jase mentioned Karina recently, which is sort of your daughter from another country, I guess. We have several of those in the Robertson family, people that just came and stayed with us and never left. But so we've told her story before, of course, on the podcast, but he mentioned about your frustrations because, we've talked a little bit about, immigration, and it's such a big issue now in a political campaign. And so there's all this stuff going on about it, but that's a real life situation with an orphan girl that you guys helped and now has become our family, literally. But she's really struggling with trying to become a legal citizen, with the work visa and all that. So just talk a little bit of that. I know it's been a frustration for you. And so we said, Missy said she'll come on the podcast and say, well, look, I want to hear about this. This is
Well, you said frustration a couple of times. Frustration does not begin to warrant what I would rather use as my emotion. I am ticked. It makes me infuriated to watch what is happening. And I know y'all don't like to get political, but this is just facts. Our open border is why she's having so much problem. She is fleeing from Nicaragua just the same as millions of other people are doing it. She chose to do it the legal way. She pays her dues every single year. She works in Washington, D.C. at a very large economic firm because she has 3 degrees that she got from an American university here, full paid tuition because she's so smart. She is an asset to this country. She is living in an apartment in Virginia, paying her bills all by herself. She is paying her taxes. She is getting where she needs to go without a car, the metro system, which also you have to pay for. She's doing everything herself and getting turned down every year. And she re-ups. She'll apply again for a green card, and she will get denied. And she'll pay $785, which is a lot to her. She does not spend money. She saves it all. And she gets denied every year. And I finally told her, we had a good conversation, Jason and I did with her, because I don't know what it's like to be an orphan. And I cannot say that I empathize with her. I can sympathize. But everything that she is doing right now, every decision that she is making is out of fear for one reason, and that is being deported back to a country that is volatile. And if she is deported back to Nicaragua, without the Lord's help, she will die there. She will be killed there because of her sex and because of her age. Those women and girls are disappearing by the thousands. And she has nowhere to go. She has no family. So she is scared literally to death about that. And so and I told her, when you hear on the news, we need to fix our immigration system, that means the legal immigration system. They're not even talking about the illegal immigration system.
Yeah, right.
They're saying we need to fix our legal immigration system. There's no one working on that because we are being flooded by illegal immigrants coming and getting all of the stuff that our taxes pay for. The phones, the hotel, everything that she's paying for herself, we're paying for everyone else who's coming across the border illegally. So frustration does not begin to outline what I feel about this. I am literally ticked off at our government for allowing this to happen. And this administration, they have a lot to answer for. And I don't think it's going to be on this earth. I think it's going to be after this earth. And they are going to have to answer for quite a lot because what they are doing is a detriment not only to us as Americans, but those ones who are coming here to actually better themselves and make a better life for themselves.
Ooh, I like angry Missy.
We need a lawyer. That's all I'm saying. We need a lawyer who would like to take on Karina's case. We really, really do.
And we've had a few that we've talked to, and
they don't give us much hope.
No. But I just thought, if you have a system, there are cases, because this is real to us, because she's part of our family.
Yeah.
And it's like every box that could possibly be checked for you becoming a U.S. citizen, from being here for years, contributing to society, being an orphan. She has nowhere to go. She comes from a Civil War, third world country. I mean, every box has been checked. She's paying her taxes. And it's just, I'm like, who is the person? I'd like to meet this person who keeps looking at her story, because we didn't even tell you the best part of this. She educated herself.
Yeah.
She got a scholarship to go to high school in Germany. Mm-hmm. She couldn't go to school where she was at. They didn't have school where she was at. I mean, she came from the slums of a third world country. You just think about that. So she does that. Then she gets a scholarship to come to America. This is all self-taught. She graduates a university. She gets 3 degrees.
With honors, cum laude.
With honors. And it's like, how do you keep declining this human being? What are we doing here? So I don't know. That's the heart of what's behind it, you know.
But she's so fearful. That's why we've asked her to come on this podcast or in some format and tell her story, because I think it would really move a lot of people to get behind what is being forgotten. And there are people, it's the people like her who are actually working and
Y'all
doing
need to
it
get
right.
that done.
Well, she's an
that's what
adult.
we're
And
trying
so when I said she makes every decision right now out of fear, she is very fearful that if she does that, she will be deported because of political reasons. And so, this is her choice. She's 24 years old and she has to make these decisions. But as a mom, again, she is doing great at her job. She loves the Lord. She loves the church she's going to. But right now, she is very fearful of what's going to happen in the future. And so I'm actually pleading with your Unashamed audience here that if you have any suggestions, please let us know, because this is a whole new world for us and we're fighting evil right now to get it done.
No, and I think it's so good that you made. In fact, we need to, even whether she wants to go public with it or not, we do need to at some point get her story on camera just to have, because I think eventually her story is going to help and others to change, because we had Chad Robichaux on the podcast a few podcasts back, and he was talking about Ukraine and some of the work they're doing over there, and just amazing stuff. But he had such a way of helping me to understand, because you hear a word like immigration or Ukraine, and it becomes instantly a political football, and you don't realize that there's people involved here.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who are suffering in different situations, and that's what's happened here, Missy. I mean, this has become such a political thing that nobody's doing anything, but people are the ones who get hurt. And good people. I mean, wherever their, situation is and they're coming from. And that's what you have to remember. Our government is in place to serve and protect its people.
Well, it was set up to do that. It no longer is that. It no longer is that.
Right. And that's what's happened.
Let's see. We'll start with, if you want to hear a rundown of each of the kids. Look, I met somebody when I'm in Franklin, which is a lot. I really love to go to Church of the City. It is the worship there is amazing. The pastor there is amazing. And I have some really great friends that go there. And so they save me a seat every time, and I get to walk in and just get filled up, it seems like. And so I was talking to a lady, and she said, how are you? And I said, good. How are you? And I said, actually, I'm fantastic. And she just kind of looked at me, and I said, last year, because we went through so many major, terrible things at the same time, I quit saying good, how are you? Like, you know what? I'm doing pretty terrible right now. I could use some prayers. And so now to get past that surfacey, so good, hi, so everybody's dressed up for church and we're worshiping the Lord, which is fantastic, but we just have that kind of surface level. It's not really the place to get into anything deep. But I said, I quit saying good, and here I am saying it again. But it's because everything seems like it's just so good. The Lord is just so good right now to us. He's good all of the time, but we're seeing the results of Him being faithful to us and us being faithful to Him. And, we're getting up and coming to church that morning from a tornado-ridden house. And still able to say all of that. And it's because our family is doing amazing. And Reed and Brighton having this third little precious, perfect angel is amazing. Brighton's parents were there and helping with her. It's just like we are all in it together. And it's what I dreamed of, to be a grandmother, really, to just be able to help and support my own children, but watch them do what they need to do. And they are amazing, amazing parents to those children. And I look at Maris and I look at David, and I could go on and on and on and tell you everything they do about their day, but it is so intentionally planned out and perfectly executed, in my opinion, from mainly their mom, who is with them 24/7, and then Reed as the supporter of the family. And people say, oh, my grandchildren are the best. I'm sorry, they're not. Mine are. And it's not because of me. It's because that their parents are fantastic. So everybody in that household is doing wonderfully well. They love the Lord, and they're training their children to do the same.
Well, and there is something really special about watching your kids mature into those roles.
Yes,
you're exactly right, and being that person, it makes you proud that because let's face it, your own kids, sometimes you just want to strangle them when when you were raising them, and then you see them so good with now your grandchildren. It does change everything.
It says a lot about sacrifice, though. When you don't realize it, you do a lot of sacrificing for your kids. Think about what you do every day. And especially, I think the mom takes the brunt end of that for whatever reason. But Lulu, because now I've been introduced to another person with our grandkids, which is the same person I'm married to. But now the Lulu is just awesome with the grandkids, and they all love Lulu the best out of everybody. I'll just say, including their parents. I'm not sure how that's happened.
No, that's not true. That's not.
They do, babe. You're awesome with those kids. People have special gifts, and that's hers. And so it's nice when you've been married 34 years, which we just celebrated our anniversary.
Yeah, that was like last week.
That was part of this week's celebrations that we actually brought baby Francis home on our anniversary. So that was pretty special. We didn't celebrate.
We didn't celebrate because, we felt bad. We were all sitting around, and somehow that came up, and Brighton was like, oh, today's your anniversary? It was kind of like my birthday last year. Somebody, when the dam broke, everybody realized, oh, today's your birthday. And I was like, don't worry about it. I'll get another one hopefully next year. It gives me incentive to stay alive.
Well, I always remember it because when you guys got married that summer, Jason and I had just graduated from preaching school. And so we were working. I guess it was full time. We were interns, but it felt like it was part time because we had no money. And so, do you remember that, Missy? We were poor.
It was less than part-time pay.
Exactly.
That's why I quit college and went to work.
Yeah, and Lisa had to work too. And so it was, but I thought what you mentioned, Missy, about what you guys went through last year, in the last podcast, Jace read James 1, talking about trials and perseverance. And, when you go through something really difficult, it does give you an appreciation for the good times and for the blessings, and you see them in a different way. And so even thinking back, to y'all get married, and of course Lisa and I hadn't been married but just a few years ahead of y'all, and I think now we're able to look back and say, man, look how God brought us through so many things when we weren't sure how we were going to make it. We were literally living on faith and love, and hope.
Now it seems faster than fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just look up and you're like, that's my kids with their kids.
Well, it makes you appreciate that verse we read, in Ephesians 3. I think we read that in the last podcast also about family, where, when Paul was praying, he said, I kneel before the Father, from whom his whole family in heaven on earth derives its name. He's the architect of family. And when you look at what it takes with everybody sacrificing and loving and being there for everybody, and then enduring all the pains of life, it really becomes beautiful somewhere in all that struggle. Well, it's like my other son, y'all met Reed again, but my other son, he was going through a pretty tough time. Just, what we all do as a teenager, trying to figure out what you're going to do. He goes through college. Then it's like, now what? But actually, Reed's wife went out and was kind of had a sister-in-law to, demand talk with him. Like, hey, we need to do something here. And so he winds up getting a job, and I'm sure he wasn't making much more than minimum wage. But you fast forward a few years, and he's been promoted over and over again in departments that he didn't even go to school with. But I just look back on that, and I think, you don't think about this as a family, but for whatever reason, which her name is Brighton, and she tends to brighten everyone she encounters. Would you agree with that? I'm not just saying that.
Absolutely. I told her mom she named her completely accurately.
No, I mean, look, when Reed and Brighton, because we introduced them, you know how you get nervous when your kids are thinking about getting married and you're like, well, is this the right one? And I remember Reed coming to me and was basically explaining, this is where we're headed in this relationship. And I was like, well, if you don't marry her, I'm going to have a problem with it. Because she just made him such a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really noticeable. I was like, look, she brings out the best, which I think he was kind of surprised at.
Could I add a little to that? Because they've known each other since the 8th grade. They were friends in the 8th grade. And
you mean they met
at school.
Went back that far?
Oh, they're junior
They were
high
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I just thought she run into some girl up there. And
No, it's a story, Phil. It goes back to junior high.
Yeah, so she was
it'll last
on.
longer if it goes back that long.
Is that a proven fact?
That's a proven fact.
According to Phil, the earlier you start
Earlier the
dating,
better.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she was on the homecoming court. I think it was her sophomore year, and she asked Reed, to escort her on the homecoming court. And of course, then I just kind of got all excited because she was top pick for me, for Reed, early on. And he was dating another girl, was not too happy about, but I was trying to keep my mouth shut.
Babe,
and
she might be listening to this podcast.
He dated a few girls. He did. But Ashley, who's Brighton's mom, we just kind of started talking. Like, was Brighton interested in Reed? Why did she ask him to escort her? And I was like, well, I would love it if this actually led to them dating, So Ashley starts putting little bugs in Brighton's ear about Reed. And I told Reed a couple of things that Ashley said to me about how when Reed walked into chapel one day with the girl that he was with, Brighton kind of sighed,
Well, that was in
10th grade. So when I told Brighton some of the things that Ashley was saying, his face kind of started lighting up. And I said, Reed, are you interested at all in Brighton as a girlfriend? And he said, Mom, she is way out of my league. And I said, Reed, I think that you're better than you think you are. I think you're a better catch than you think you are. And
But
that
I
was
appreciate
it. That
the
was
humility.
like, yes, but it was like it turned on a little light bulb for him, like she might be interested. And so Ashley and I take a little bit of credit of putting those bugs in their ears, because then Reed got a little bit more gumption and courage and actually asked her out. Broke up with
This
his
is sounding
girlfriend
like
and
the
asked her out.
Western version of a arranged marriage. It sounds like what we're working on here.
Just a few little bugs in the
a
ear.
lot of stuff going.
No, it is a cool story, but that's why I said, in life, your family, you have to hold each other accountable and, all these other things. I just thought it was so weird. That's why I wanted to share that story, that later on in life, who knew that she would be having a talk with his brother just about, and it wasn't like he was doing anything, crazy or what. He just wasn't doing much. And she was like, you need to make something out of your life, and go.
Well, what happened is she became a fan of listening to the Daily Wire, which is right there in Nashville. And Cole just wasn't really excited about selling insurance, I think is what he was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And she was like, you should go apply at the Daily Wire. And just talking to him, and they've been really close through all of these years, Brighton and Cole, as friends. I mean, she knew him when he was in the 6th grade, so it's been a while. And it kind of motivated him, like, maybe I can. So he went and applied, of course, went through like 3 or 4 layers of interviews and got the job. And now 2.5 years later, he's been promoted twice, and then now was just accepted to a brand new role and position, making a lot more money. And so, which he again thought, I don't have the skill set to apply for this higher position. I need to study more. I need to get some more training. And then he went for it anyway, and they hired him. So he was like, I got the job.
Well, he had told us, he's like, yeah, I interviewed. He's like, I didn't even go to school for this, but they recommended I interviewed. And I was like, well, what'd you think? He said, oh, I don't think I did very good. I'm not going to get the job. And so then 3 or 4 days later, he sent a group text to our family. He's like, well, I got the job. So
he's putting that religious, philosophical degree he's got to good use with the boys at Daily Wire.
Well, I was just going to say, though, that it does speak to the power of family, especially a family that has Jesus at the center. I mean, even in the book of Ephesians, you see what Paul did. You have all these thrilling things, to Missy's point about how are you doing. I think we should be the people on the planet who say things like that. I'm thrilling. I'm fantastic. Because then that usually triggers a response of, oh, really? Why? And then there's an opportunity to share Jesus, number one. But then he goes off into, 4, 5, and 6 and just starts talking about life and husbands and wives and children and work situations and just decisions that you make. And so isn't that really what we do as a family, reflecting God architecting all of these families that we have? I mean, I just think it's an awesome way to display that. Because life is hard.
To me, as a mom personally, if my kids are suffering, if they're going through something traumatic, if they're not doing well spiritually or struggling, I can't say I'm fantastic. I can't say it. I can't say those words. I know God is faithful and he is with me, but when you hear me say I'm fantastic, automatically all 4 of my kids are doing great without me having to say it. And I think I can speak for a lot of moms like that, because they are my succession. That's what I've put my heart and soul into, are my children, not a career, not anything else came before them. And now I see that they're doing the same thing, especially Reed and Brighton. Brighton's full-time RN at Vanderbilt Emergency for years and had a very successful career, and realized, what? Family is much more important, and I want to raise my children to love the Lord and to sacrifice and be good citizens of the country, and that falls on me. And I'm not going to parent by proxy, basically. I'm going to parent myself, and if that means sacrificing, which they did for a long time. They lived in a tiny little rental house in not so great of a neighborhood, outside of Nashville. That kind of made my heart skip a beat when I would turn the corner onto their road and see bars on the windows of homes. And I thought, okay, Lord, keep them safe. Reed said I was overblowing all of that, but still, as a mom,
that was my first thought when I pulled into the neighborhood.
What are we doing here?
No, my first thought was, where's my pistol? Literally. I mean, it wasn't.
Good to see you. Where's your weapons?
I looked down and thought, let me go ahead and get this out just in case.
But Missy, what you're describing is a very ancient, this has been around. You look back in the Bible, Job is one of the earlier characters, people in the Bible. And I loved it because it shows you what kind of man he was. And of course, he wound up losing his children. He went through so much. Mm-hmm. But every time he would offer a sacrifice and pray to the Almighty, he would pray for his children. And if any of them had ever, fallen short of God, and I'm paraphrasing, that he offered a sacrifice for them. And this was before he went through all of his bad stuff. And so you think about that, even going back thousands of years ago, this idea that you just described, that we raise our children and then our grandchildren, in Dad's case now, great-grandchildren, for them to have a faith walk. And we know, just like with us, that's not going to be easy. There are going to be difficulties. They're going to face things. But we are preparing them to be ready. And the only way you can do that is to be with them and to make a difference.
Reed has actually, we've had some amazing conversations about that just in this last month or so. And Reed said, the way that you and Dad trained us to be self-sufficient and grow up and realize you're not going to take care of us, we have to do it ourselves. And we never really had those conversations. It was just kind of understood. You get up and out, you're on your own. Yeah. And that course, when you know that you raised them that way, you're not going to come in and make their life easy for them, because that's not what we raised them to do. And so the little house that they rented for 6 years, until they were able to be in the home that they are now, because of what Reed built their house. And so that's his jobs. But I just look at that. Not only are they able to see the reward of their sacrifice in a tangible way, material way, but because they struggled to really work hard, make ends meet, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, the stress of bills and all of that, it makes you a stronger person. And, Reed was telling me even things like, you wouldn't give us gas money. You only gave me gas money when I started taking my brother and sister to school because you didn't do it anymore. It's like, yep, anything else you wanted to do, you had to go get a job and find your own, way around town to your friends' houses and out to eat and things, because, well, mainly we didn't have it at first. We didn't have that. But he said, I'm so glad that you made me do that. I have such an appreciation for what we have now, because I'm working for everything that I have. Nothing that we have has been given to us. And so I'm just thrilled to hear my adult son with 3 children to say that, So doing the same thing with the rest of our children, and they're doing fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's kind of controversial. But, I've said things in the past, because I look back on my life, I was thankful we were so poor when I was a kid, because it made me appreciate what I have now. I mean, you just don't appreciate it unless you realize the struggle that it took to get here. I said this one time in a sermon and got flack for it when I said the most dangerous situation you can put kids in is taking them to church every Sunday, having a bunch of money, and giving them everything. And people are looking around because they're like, well, what do you mean? You just threw 3/4 of this whole congregation under the bus. But that's what I was getting at, was if they feel like they're entitled, if they are raised without any kind of struggle, all of a sudden you look up and it's chaos. And so, it's hard because, when the duck show happened, well, we all got money. And look, they did too. I mean, they would make money for appearing on the show. Well, they put it in.
They were working. Trust me, it was a workout.
And all my kids, except my daughter, they burned through that like,
Cole actually saved his, and
for a while,
and studied abroad with his. Reed burned through it pretty much immediately.
Yeah. So what happens is, because Missy's right, at some point the spigot was turned off, with all my kids. And it usually happened in a come to Jesus meeting where they weren't making good decisions. And so then it's like, I'm paying for this phone. So if you want a phone, you need to go get a job one day. And we went through the same process, but it's very difficult to do, especially when they're struggling. But I would just keep telling myself that struggle is going to be good. Them finding their way. That's why I told the story about, our youngest son, because it wasn't like we hadn't told him the same thing, but it just took somebody else coming in and him having to go through that struggle, because now all of a sudden, his chest is out, and then he went through it. Well, isn't that what the Christian life is all about? I mean, there's more in here about suffering and embracing it and persevering through trials. So I think as parents, that's a real tough thing to navigate, because sometimes success and having a lot of material things does more harm if they feel like they don't have to work or embrace the struggle and kind of find their own way in the Lord,
It's called entitlement, what it's called.
And unfortunately, that's one of the things that's happened in our country.
And while y'all were talking, Karina actually was calling me to wish me happy birthday. So that's why I was home.
Well, I know we're almost out of time, but I do want to say about Mia, because I don't want to leave her out. She had a surgery, number 16, a couple of weeks ago, and I took her back to Nashville before the baby was born and just kind of waited for the baby to be born. But we moved her into her townhouse with 3 of her best friends from Lipscomb University, and she, of course, videoed her room, sent it all to me. She is also doing fantastic. So she's about to start her junior year of college, and she has all A's right now, and she's very proud of that fact, and so we are pleased as well. But she's doing really great. She's going to be an intern at a church, local church there in the college ministry, and then she's also babysitting her nieces and nephew. So she also makes money to pay her own gas. So there's that.
Well, and you know what's funny is not funny, but ironic funny is that Mia, you know, her whole life she grew up on a television show, so like so many people were invested in how she is and her success and what God has done in her life. And so what a cool thing. We were talking about this earlier. One of the great things, I mean, there's been a movie about our family. We've been on television, obviously. One of the great things is long after we're gone, people will still be able to look back and say, yeah, those Robertsons, let me let you see some of those people and what they did and how they impacted our culture. I tell my kids and my grandkids now all the time, I said, you don't know how blessed you are to have a foundation of faith that was put forward and went generation to generation. So you keep it going, because I don't want 3 generations down the road forgetting about what we did and why we're here. And really,
well, now Maris and David are watching Duck Dynasty now, and Maris will look up on the screen and go, "They're J-Rock on TV." And then there was a shot with Jason, Willie together, and she looked at it, she said, "To J-Rock."
And then I had to chastise her. And then she was playing
kind of a larger J-Rock.
She was playing in on the little porch, you know, and she said, "J-Rock, just a question." I said, "You want me to ask you a question?" And I figured out she had a question for me. She said, "How'd you get in that TV?" I thought, awesome. The mind of a child keeps it simple. How did you get in there? I'm curious about that.
Well, Missy, thanks for coming on. It's always great to have you. I love that we got into a little bit of cultural stuff as well. So we're going to be praying about that. And if there's anybody out there that has some advice for them, please let us know.
Well, that verse you sent when you sent the notes last night, Ephesians 4, when I started reading your notes and that verse was right there, I just immediately teared up, because that verse, which is the end of Ephesians 4.
Ephesians 4 what?
No, it's 3:20 and 21, I think. To him who is able to do.
Yes. So I started reading that. I started tearing up, because this is it. We are the result of this verse right here, because it is more than we could ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. And to Him be all glory. There's actually a song about that, and that's how I learned it word for word. Y'all want to sing it with me? Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us, to Him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. That's how I learned that verse.
We actually didn't sing it with you, babe. You sang a solo, and it was.
I was beautiful. In my mind. I was with you, Missy. I was singing loud, but I didn't want to mess it up.
That's one of the greatest things about the Bible is so many people have turned them into songs, and you can teach your children Scripture that way.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy birthday, double nickel.
Well, that was my birthday present right there.
It was a good one for all of us.
I'm the luckiest man alive.
Thanks for listening to the Unashamed podcast. Help us out by rating us on iTunes. And don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube, and be sure to click that little bell to get notified about new episodes. And for even more content that you won't get anywhere else, subscribe to Blaze TV at blazetv.com/unashamed.